Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. I think today is Thursday for most of us, unless you are in Australia and it's late night. So we are here today with our guest, and I love this topic because I think that it's important for us to understand the barriers so that we avoid being judgmental, right? Because it's not that everything is accessible every place. And I will just go over really quickly. And I won't do the typical scripted, uh, Dawn has a really great script for making sure that we respect one another. But just in lieu of, I think all of us are sort of feeling a lot of heavy weight with things that are going on. So just keep in mind to respect one another's opinions. And if you feel that something is triggering or uncomfortable, step away, turn off your volume, mute yourself. It I will say yesterday, and this is probably why I'm saying this, I participated in a book study, and because I was so angry about a situation, I felt like I was very boisterous and interruptive trying to get my point across, which is something I didn't want to do, but lots and lots of heavyweight. So we're going to respect one another and we're going to learn. Please put your questions in the chat. You can comment in the chat. I think that we also have the availability if you want to raise your hand, or if you want to unmute yourself to ask a question, that is available. And I will be watching the chat. And so I will introduce our guest. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Stacey. It's a pleasure always to be in the midst. Yes. So, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, anywhere you are in the part of the world. My name is Dotun Akonde. I am a mother of a young man who is 27, living with autism, and I'm also the pioneer person that started up the first autism center in Nigeria, and that is due to the fact that when my son was growing up, we had no services, and I was asked to take my son out of the country for him to get the help that he needed at that point in time. So I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to share my experience. Will be, I think, 20 years since we started this journey with other families in Nigeria. So welcome. Please, if you feel free to interrupt me at any point in time, if you have any questions, if you have any misconceptions about what is going on, I will explain further. So this evening, we'll be talking about educating people with autism in Nigeria and the barriers that we face on a daily basis. It's been an emotional journey and also a beautiful journey, because the beauty that comes with it cannot be explained and cannot be, overemphasized. So here we go. So like I said, autism is under-recognized in this part of the world. So as you can see, that is the school. That's part of the classroom where we take the young adults that we are looking to include into the mainstream school, into the society. That's the classroom where they are. So it's under-recognized. And the reason why it is really, really terrible is because of the stigma that is attached to it. We still see it as a spiritual attack. We still go all the way to places where we shouldn't take our children to, and we still suffer that snare and stare that we see all over the place. We've had positive representation because there are some of the people that have come up, to do great things. Every year, I think in the past 15 years, we've done what we call the Talent in Autism show. We do it every December just to give people an idea that it's not a death sentence. These children are not from the evil world. They have strength. There's a great strength that they all carry that we miss because we are busy focusing on the negatives and the behavior, and we are not looking deep enough to find out what is going on. And I say a little bit about my story. My son was born in 98, and in 2000, a little bit when he was about turning 2, we noticed that the words he had at the beginning started to fade away, and we started to look for ways in which to support him. And we were wondering what it was. We didn't know what it was. We were asking ourselves, is there something we did? Did we go wrong and we took him to the hospital and the doctors waved it away. I said, oh, don't worry, Mrs. Akondi. So as I was saying, my son was he didn't speak at 2, and the doctors didn't know what he was. They kept telling me, boys talk late, don't worry, he will outgrow it, and this and not knowing what to do, I went on with life. And 2 years, 2.5 years, and then one day I met a medical doctor who already had a son with autism. So she was the one that recognized the signs and told me what it was. So she was the one that diagnosed our son with autism. And from her experience, she said there's nothing available in the country. You have to take your son out of the country. He's at a stage where he can be helped outside of the country. And, I had a daughter before him. So my husband said, there's no way we're going to uproot the entire family out of the country. So she said to me, I'll get you a speech and language therapist that would work with your son, and then you can find the teacher in the school that can help in terms of learning how to work with him after school, 30 minutes. Everything that has been taught in classroom can be replicated after school for 30 minutes. And then that's the only method I know. And I said, oh, wow. So we went on, and then for the next couple of months, the speech therapist was coming 3 times a week. And then when he turned about 5, the speech wasn't really there. He started to develop single words, and then we introduced him to music, and music really, really changed everything. By the time he was 6, the words started to come, more words, and then we started to connect. But what intrigued me most was the fact that he was learning. I mean, he would draw things. He loved numbers. He would write numbers. We were wondering what he was drawing. It took us a while to notice that he was actually drawing the electrical poles as well as the stop signs and I'm looking for the word now, the yellow, red, yellow, green sign. I'm looking for the word, I can't find it. And it took us a while to know that that was what he was drawing. So we were intrigued that even though he wasn't speaking, learning was taking place. So we quickly put more effort into finding out what he loves to do, what he loves and enjoys. And we started to work with him. We started to teach little skills. And then everything, by the time he got to the age of 9, he was like a maths genius. Everything mathematics was so easy for him. He would say, off head, he would do everything with maths. We're going out to a party, he would, take his pen and paper, and maths was it. And that was it. That was the change we saw. And I asked the speech therapist, is it only my son that you're seeing in Nigeria? She said, no, there are other people. And I approached the other people and they declined. They didn't want to be noticed. They didn't want to come out. So I said, no, there must be more people out there going through what I've been through. Let me go and start writing. So I started writing in the newspapers. I started writing about my story, and I started getting calls from all over the country. I was amazed at how many people were living in silence with their son, and that was what motivated me to set up the center. My son now is in is 27, yes, and he's finished school, he's done, he did his degree in mathematics, he's done his PhD in mathematics, he's living his life, So it's an encouragement, and I keep sharing at every milestone, I keep sharing so that it will encourage somebody, it will encourage people to come out, and talk about their story. So that is my story. We know that autism has risen. Even 1 in 68 we are still being very conservative. We know that it has the prevalence is now about 1 in 30 something, 31 or 34. We're still struggling with this. In Nigeria, we do not have a data to support the work that we do. So we work with our community. So only 10% of children with general disability, not only autism, attend school. Most of them are homeschooled or or not schooled at all, just at home doing, very, very little. And the trainers, the specialists that we need in the field in Nigeria is very minimal. The minute they get to the point where they have the opportunity to leave the country, they're out. So every year or so, we are losing more and more people to what we call in Nigeria, japa. That's what we say when they leave the country. We call it, they have jackpad out of the country. So they have emigrated out of the country. So we have very, very few hands that we see that help our families. From this graph, from this data, I'll share it with you later on so you can share it with the community. You can see what happened in 2017 when we started. We started the center in 2006 with just 3 children. Now we see a maximum of 60 and that's because that's the maximum the center can take. We can't take any more than 60. And you can see in 2017, the number of people that we were able to see, that was because we got the support from USADF to help us with advocacy, help us with screening, help us with data gathering. In 2028, you can see that it went down from 124 to 20. In 2021, we can see how almost non-existent it was at that time. And you can see how it's been dwindling over time in the numbers. In 32, 70 in 20, yes, 124 in 2017, 103 in 2018, 32 in 2021, and 15 in 2022. And you can see the gap between the years that we've been able to screen families. We've been able to go out into the community. We go into their community to screen them. And that is because it's so expensive. So we have to space it over time. We can't afford to do it. And then as the years are going by and things are getting more difficult, sponsorship became a little bit more difficult. And so we can see that the work we are doing is beginning to reduce as we go along in the years. It's something that worries us, but we do not give up. And I'll show you what we've done in the alternate to support families. So what are the barriers to this education? The first one is awareness. Many people don't even know what it is. Many people still in the rural areas, we call it, oh, it's a spiritual attack. It's somebody in the family that has abused, somebody touched me, somebody. So they go to the wrong places. So limited public understanding of exactly what it is, limited public understanding of the behavior that that child is doing. When the child covers his ears to loud noises and wants to stay out of the crowd, we have to teach it. So another reason to the barrier is therapy is high. It's not government funded. In Patrick's speech, we have about 41% of our students are on scholarship. And that is because we approach organizations, we approach individuals, we approach parents whose children have done well with therapy, and the child has now become independent. We approach them to sponsor somebody, put money into the therapy of somebody, help somebody, to grow. We are short of professionals. We are short of trained professionals. We have a lot of quacks out there, a lot of people that just get up and say, I'm therapist, I can do this. They come up with magic wand. In 1 month, in 6 months, your child will be speaking without regard for what the parents will go through and what they put those children into unimaginable and deplorable therapy that when you look at it, you just want to cry. And then the stigma, of course. The stigma is still very high. It's right there at the tip of the nose. I got a call today where the woman was telling me that I have triplets and one of them is on the spectrum. And I've been trying to teach him how to do mathematics. And I don't know why it's so difficult for him to do the mathematics. It's been left behind in the other places. And I said to her, does he love maths? What does he love? He said, no, he doesn't like it. He likes reading, he likes writing. Why don't we focus on what he loves and enjoys? Then from there, we can now bring in the ones that he's finding difficult. And it's slowly, don't, don't say because he doesn't use words. He can communicate to you by using the signs. He might not like to use the words all the time. Find ways in which he's comfortable and use that as a means to get through to him. When you get through to him, when you get through to him, I don't want to, I could not express the joy that comes into that relationship when they see that, oh, mom, you get me. It's so beautiful to see. And then they begin to open up like a flower. Every day the petal, blooms, and it's simply amazing. I'm sorry, sometimes I get overwhelmed and then I really talk deep about this. So this is the center. So just to give you an idea how this is what our center looks like. This is the front building. This is the back building. We have a small playground and the center is full. That is one thing that we are seeing now. Our center is full. We have 60 children and we have over 40 teachers and carers working with those children because we understand the number and the importance of 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 or 3-to-1, depending on the need of the child. So this is who we are. 65% of our children, they show measurable communication because we use person-centered approach. It's the person that drives the way therapy goes. We were founded on the principle of sunrise, but we don't particularly use a particular method. We allow the child to tell us. So we look at what the child loves and enjoys. We look at the learning styles. We look at the teaching aids that we can use. We look at how we can use the visual aids, the visual schedules. We use some form of measurement. At the end of the day, we have our progress reports where we take data of we develop a plan. This is what we want for each child. Every child in our center has a plan, and the plan is approved by us as well as the parents. So the parents are very involved in therapy. We are very much big in parents training and caregivers training. And we've also gone on now to establish what we call the Patrick's Training Academy to teach more therapists that come in on board that are willing to learn the skills. So I'll talk more about that when I get to that stage.
Datun, I have a
Yes,
question related to
yes,
communication. So someone would
yes.
like to know if there's anyone at the center or in Nigeria that can support non-speech communication for the people who are not able to use verbal communication efficiently, writing symbols, signs, or anything like that in place? What are your
Yes.
alternatives? Do you guys have that?
Okay, yes. So we have someone that does sign language with us. We also have the tablets where they can point at what they want. So it was donated to us by a very kind lady from the US. I think she gave us about 15 tablets where we can show the children the pictures.
Mhm.
So like the picture exchange communication. We do use the so every classroom has a visual schedule where the child can go to, and it has to be at the level of each child, where they can go to bring out the visuals to tell us what they want, especially when they want to use the toilet, when they want to go into the bathroom to use the toilet. So we have a toilet card where they can just go show you and tell you that this is what I want to do. For those who cannot go by themselves, we would use the card. So we have visual schedules, we have picture exchange communication, and we also have the tablet where they can use sentence starters and all those things to help them, set the pace for the day and to make them comfortable. So we do have some that we use, yes.
If you don't mind, I'd just like to, for perspective, just from my experience, one of the things that I think a lot of us don't realize is some countries, the internet access is not as vibrant as, like, we are kind of spoiled in the United States where we have access to the internet at all times. But simple things like even sending a webinar, right, for someone to watch in Nigeria requires the internet access. And so I think that the tablet is an easy solution for us, that we have electricity to charge all the time and we have internet to download and update, but that's not always accessible. So you guys have to get creative, which I appreciate that you guys have done that. So just for perspective, just wanted to share that because I do think we forget, like if you haven't lived somewhere that has limited, it's like when we had the AOL dial-up, right? We've forgotten about those days, but those days still exist in other places. So
Oh,
thank you
yes.
for getting creative.
Yeah, thank you very much, Stacey. So we have scholarships because since we started in 2006, we've reached out to families that struggle financially to bring their children to the center. So we have scholarships where we take teachers' children, public service children, public servants' children, and then children of traders or those on the streets and the community. So when we go into the community to do community programs, we find families that are struggling, and then we take one or two, as many as we can take at each point in time. And the beauty is that when they do well, we are able to include them back into the society, with sometimes with support, sometimes without support. So we've really grown in terms of our scholarship support, and also our donor and community support has also grown because we have what we now call the digital platform. So if you don't have to come into the center. On that digital platform, we have about 500 families. It's called WhatsApp. I know some people know what WhatsApp is. So in that WhatsApp group, somebody comes in every day, Monday to Friday. It could be the speech therapist coming in. It could be the person in charge of vocation coming in. It could be occupational therapist coming in. It could be somebody that is helping to talk about behavior management, and how they can help the child communicate. Because we believe that if we get occupational therapy right and we get communication right, not necessarily speech, we will see less of the behavior that everybody is worried about, looking out for what we call ABA. We don't use ABA in Patrick's because we don't believe in it. We know that the children's behavior is a means of communication. So there is something they are telling us from that behavior. So we need to find what the function of that behavior is and then try to see how we can minimize it. So that's what we do at the center. So we've expanded our scholarship support over time to include those families that cannot come to our center. And we are always open. We tell families we are always open. It doesn't matter what time of the day it is. Our numbers are there. We are always open to support. You don't have to be in Patrick's before we support you. We support you wherever you are. We give you the skills that you need. If you need to come to us to be skilled, we open the center for you to come in and be skilled. And then you can take that back into the home environment. That is what we do with the WhatsApp group. And we have people from all over the world, from the UK, the US, every part of the world come into that space, to learn. We are all learning because we don't know what it is. And then a lot of people have different, ways, different values, different means, and then different skills, different behavior, the way they behave, different aversions. So we have to be open to be able to take in everything and support them exactly where they are. And the beauty of that WhatsApp group is that sometimes when we have questions come up, the parents share ideas. So the parents are there, for one another to say, oh, this is what I did when I saw this. You can try it and see if it works for you. So sometimes we just take a back seat and allow them to interact, and it helps them regularly. So this picture you see here is when we called in for community awareness. We said families should come into the center for us to help them. We were so amazed at the number that came into the center. And so what happens is that when we go out into the community like that, we have specialists come in and volunteers to help us decipher what the challenge is, to help us, attend to each parent. So on this day, We were able to attend to everyone. The ones we could not attend to, we gave them appointment for another day for them to come in. So we look for a way to match their needs with their community. So we look for centers that are around them that we know are good with our children, and then we do our referral. We look for health centers for those that their children have seizures and other related developmental cases. We send them to the health center so they can get the help that they need in that area. Then we also match some of them. And then when we call for community health programs like this, we know we not only get autism, so you can see from the graph before, we get autism, we get cerebral palsy, so we have to sift it out, and send them to the appropriate places. So each time we call is always an amazing experience because we use the opportunity to understand what is going on around those places. And we have those, things, those numbers sitting down there with us, and we are not sure what to do with that. We also do subsidized therapy because our center is a fee-paying center. So we subsidize for families that cannot afford the full fees. So we not only help those that cannot afford services, we subsidize for others as well. And then, like I said, we have the parent support network where we bring the communities together for them to share experience and for them to share resources. We are looking to see a way where we can have like a drive-through at some point in time, if we're able to get enough funding to do that, to drive through the community and do house calls on some days, to families that are around our community. And then we also collaborate with other centers and other organizations that have the same vision as us, which is to help each and every child living with autism reach their full potential. Whatever that full potential is where we want that child to be. And as much as possible, we try to encourage independence. We allow the parents to understand that because the child is not using words does not mean he's not communicating. There are ways in which they communicate. They tell us their needs. They tell us what they want. If we are able to connect with them on that level, they usually do very well, and they get better. So the story of Ayo is one of our young, it's not his real name. He went from non-verbal to basic education, asking for his needs, is able to say that I want to use the bathroom, I want to go to the toilet, I want to eat, he's able to say simple things. It took us maybe about 2 years. Like I always say, it's not the time that matters, it's when the child is ready, to open up. So, and like we all know, they thrive on trust. If they don't trust you, they will not open up. Trust, I write it everywhere. Each time I have the opportunity to train, I tell them trust is the first port of call because each child is already fighting for survival in the state of anxiety. They must trust you for them to be able to open up. So we come from that place of trust, that place of support, that place of help, that place of saying, it's okay, you can do whatever you want here, where this is a non-judgmental zone. So you are free to express yourself whichever way you want, and then we'll give you the right support. So he went from that, and the progress we've had has been amazing. And like I said, it's not because all of them are speaking, it's because all of them can come in and be comfortable in that environment. All of them can come in and just see you and just walk through the door and just give you a massive hug. I mean, a child that's ordinary for the past 1 month has been struggling, and then one day just walk through that door and gives you a hug and just, look into your eyes without even saying words. It says a lot. So those are the progress that we record. Those are the things that we see. We encourage the parents to be patient with the children because sometimes the parents want to go from A to Z, without passing through those, curves. You can't blame them. Sometimes they want the child, sometimes they feel that they've lost the child once they find out that the child is on the spectrum. So you have to guide them, and we slowly guide them. towards that place of strength, towards that space of knowing that there's something this child carries. Don't look at the challenges. Find the strength. It's in the strength that you can overcome a lot of these challenges. So that's where we come from. We've been able to mainstream some of the children. They've gone in, some of them with support, some of them without support. Some of them have gone to live independent lives. Some of them, there's one of them that speaks 3 languages now. He came without speaking at all, and now he speaks 3 languages. His father is ecstatic, telling us all the time about what he's been able to do. And that is true. Some of them came, and like Nigeria is we don't get early intervention. They usually let them linger in mainstream school, wanting them to be doctors, engineers, and all. And then when they see that, that is not coming, we get them at 8, 7. The oldest person we've ever seen we got him at 35. He came to us at age 35. Non-verbal, struggling, and now he's still non-verbal. Minimal, very minimal words. If he wants to eat, he can say, I want to eat, but very minimal. Ordinarily, he wouldn't speak. But he's so gentle now. He can sit through sessions. He is now able to communicate with his mom. The mom is happy. He's been with us now for over 10 years, and we've managed him. So he's taught us a lot. He taught us a lot. He taught us that being patient with therapy goes along. And he taught us that there are some things that, because he had this attitude of, because he came in at 30, and a lot of the therapists were younger than him, he demanded respect from them. He demanded it. When they talked to him in a certain way, he would not answer them. They had to say it in a respectful manner for him to be able to attend, for them to be able to, attend to them. So he taught us a lot about working with adults that are nonverbal. We learned a lot from him, and we are grateful for that. And we find joy in vocational skills, how we helped a lot of them gain employment. And we wrote it here, if they don't employ them, we will. We have 5 of them working at the center with the young, and they love young children. The older ones, they love the younger ones. They are able to support them in their areas. One of them loves music. He loves to play the piano to the younger ones in the classroom during circle time. He plays the piano, the children sit right around him, and he sings. And that just gives him joy. And we don't only take them in, we pay them a salary. We tell the government, especially when they come to us, that they are paying taxes, and there are some things that they must be entitled to. So we help the others gain employment, especially those that are high functioning and struggle in office environments. We look for offices that are sensitive and have the interest of our adults at heart, and then we also train them. Sometimes we go with coaches, we go with job coaches to help them settle in and teach them the skills that they need to do, and encourage the organization also, to understand sometimes they need day off, sometimes they don't need, they can make it through the day. Some of them can make it through the day. You have to find a way, you can do part-time. So we go in there just to give them an idea. We've not done enough of that, and that is because, like I said, there's a lot. And I say to my team a lot of time that we can't do everything, but the little we can do, let's just make sure that we do it right. So we go into the streets to advocate on World Autism Awareness Month. We collaborate with other centers. Now it's growing. We started a parents community called in Lagos, where parents coming together. We have a WhatsApp group for parents also outside of our own WhatsApp group, parents advocacy WhatsApp group that we have. We come with other organizations, we go on walks, we engage community events, we do talent shows just to show the world that these children are good at something. We do art exhibitions as well, because a lot of them speak through their art. So we do that, and we exhibit it every April. So we bring the children and adults that are good at using the paintbrush. We allow them to express themselves, and we use that as a means to advocate for to the community and to organizations as well. We also look for organizations that can sponsor. Then we have the media partnerships. The reason why that is important is because the way they report our programs and the way they communicate to our community sometimes is degrading. So we have to teach them the language and the proper use of reporting and how they should address our community. So we also do that with the media. What are our challenges? The first challenge we have is limited reach. Nigeria is very big and we've not been able to penetrate everywhere. We've been to Lagos, we've been to Abuja, we've been to Ogun State, we've been to Port Harcourt, we've been to the East, but we've not been able to reach where a lot of people are struggling. Most of the people that we work with outside of the state is done virtually. There's also a big funding gap. We have limited resources, insufficient financial resources, and that hinders expansion. For instance, the center is meant to have expanded by now, but we do not have the capacity to be able to do that because we've allowed the center to run itself in 20 years. In 20 years, we've never had costs to borrow. We've never had costs to be out of funds because we've been able to manage our resources. We've allowed the center to be sustainable. So whether anybody comes in or to support in terms of grants, we use it for programs. We use it to use the opportunity to create programs. We've allowed the center to be able, so whether I'm there or not, the center will run. I don't have to be on ground for the center to run. It runs itself. We've had staff that have stayed with us for 18 years. We're going to be 20 years. And they know the children. They know what we do. They are part of, they are part of the team. It's not because I started it, it should center around me. No, we are all a team and we work together to hold the hands of families. Entrenched, I put entrenched because it is deep, stigma. We are very big in religion here. We go to church regularly. Some families cannot go to church because they do not tolerate the children. So what I have done in the past 2 years, I've been doing a training in, it's called Beyond Suffering. I don't know if anybody knows about it. It's a program that was put together by Johnny and Friends. They are called Johnny and Friends. So they are advocating for inclusion in the religious community, where the family, the church especially, which is where I belong, should understand the importance of difference and be able to embrace it, rather than cast it out, as casting demons out, rather than doing a lot of things that we can't even say here. We want that barrier of acceptance to be broken and then inclusion to be. And we've done one with one church in Lagos. We are very proud of that. The church community and the parents, we worked with one of the parents there who helped us into that community. And we want to use that as a pilot to other churches to open up to this. The first place you go when you're dejected in Nigeria is the church or the mosque. They must know how to manage these parents. They must know the language they use to support these parents, because without the right language and the opening the right doors, these parents will think it is a spiritual attack, which is not. The child is different. It does not mean the child is less. And that is what we say at every point in time. And then there is a critical call for professionals in the field. We don't have enough hands. So what we did was we partnered with a speech and language therapist, an occupational therapist, a nutritionist, and also somebody that does behavior management just at the peripheral level of it, to encourage these therapists to come in. It's a 6 weeks program, and then they have like a volunteering part of it, where they need to spend, it's like an internship. They spend about 3 weeks doing the practicals at our center and in other centers. And then we go into this, those that can't come into our center, we go into their own space and monitor what they are doing with the children and encourage them to use self-regulation and play with executive functioning of the children rather than use behavior management. We are trying to dispel the use of ABAs. The ABA community here is really dragging it with us, but we are insistent on the fact that these children can support themselves if they trust us and we are person-centered. That is what we preach at every point in time. So we have a training school. It's called Patrick's Training Academy, and we are hoping to take that into the rest of Africa, not only leave it in Nigeria. We are hoping to take it to the rest of Africa, where we can showcase, we can help those that have limited hands, limited professionals work with our children. So what is the next steps? We are looking at research. All the figures we've been collecting over the years, we don't know what to do with it. So knowledge of exchanging some of this knowledge with others, we are open to that. And training, like I said, capacity building through Patrick's Training Academy. And then we also do follow-up. Sometimes we bring in resource person to come and talk on certain issues. We allow the trainees to go through that also, using that as a means for continuous professional development so that they don't just learn one thing, stay with it. We keep teaching them what is happening because it's changing. Our community is fluid. New things are coming in every day. We are trying to get them to, embrace it. And scale up grants. Also, we are open to scale up the grant opportunities. And then our resources, we are looking most of the time, just like Stacy said earlier, to use culturally relevant resources. Culturally relevant. So whatever training we get from abroad, we try to tweak it a little bit to the Nigerian society. Use our cultural exercises, games, plays, language, to get the children to be comfortable in it. So we try to tweak our resources to culturally relevant resources that the children know and understand and can relate with. So that's what we've been able to do over time. And that's what we are still hoping to do, co-creating cultural resources. So my conclusion and call to action is simply autism is a difference and it's not a tragedy. It's a beautiful difference if you embrace it. Our children do very well when they are understood, when they know what to do. The adults are able to connect with you when they know there's understanding, when they know that you are there, they can reach out to you at any point in time. It reduces anxiety, it reduces fear, and they're able to open up in safe spaces. And we have community-led programs that inspire change. We are here to inspire change how the community view autism, change how the environment treats autism and supports each individual in their place of strength. Research, advocacy, and inclusive education across Africa is what we are advocating for. The research here is very, very minimal. I would say nobody. Many people are not looking at Africa and how we've been able to use our resources. And one of the biggest strengths we have is in people. It takes a village to support a child. We have the people. And why do I say that? We are a polygamous environment. We have cousins, we have sisters, we have grandmas. There's so many people around that child that can help that child make a difference. So we do not, the fact that everybody comes together to give that child a hand in the area of need goes a long way in supporting our children. I will end with a story of one of our young man called, the parents allowed me to share his story. When we are doing our inter-house sports and the family comes together, there are like 25 of them. coming to cheer up while he's trying, to get to the finish line, 25. His mom, his cousins, his aunts, his grandmom, his granddad, from the father side, from the mother side, everybody, when we see the community. So tell me now, because he was so embraced, he was seen as just, nobody wanted to change him. Everybody enjoyed seeing succeed. Even when he wasn't coming first, the chair out there would look like coming first. Today, he's a young man doing his own thing, what he loves and enjoys in his vocational skills. And the parents the mother is so happy, seeing how far has come. That is what we want to see in each and every one of our children, helping them reach that potential, that full potential, whatever it is. I tell them, if it's only laundry that the child can do, we have someone at the center. All he can do is help us take out the trash at Patrick's. We pay him to do that. And we are happy to do that because we know that that is his full potential. He's 35 and is beginning to be independent. And the beauty of it is the more we're able to embrace him, speak to him, the more he's able to open up and even tell us some of the things that he's going through. It takes time, it takes his time, to say it. It might take about 15 minutes trying to describe one thing. We are patient, we wait and let him go through it. While we listen, we allow him to listen. Another thing that we have entrenched and we have put into our program is what we call the listening skills. We know that a lot of our children have problems with loud noises. So we use music to encourage them to be able to develop their ability to listen. So we use classical music, we use sound therapy to help, dispel some of the reflexes that have been retained over time around them. So those are some of the new ways that we are also, like I said, we whatever is out there, we look at it, we bring it in, we refine it, to the Nigerian system before we introduce it to the community. So that's who we are. It takes a village to support every child, and we are happy to do that at every point in time. So these are just my references, and then this is who we are. Thank you very much for listening to me. Open for questions. If you have questions, I'm here.
So I just absolutely want to be your new best friend, and I love what you're doing. What I hear, yes, the village. I love that you have built a community of support, like autistic individuals, giving back to young autistic individuals. That is so important. So thank you so much, and we will be in touch. And John is here, so John knows that we'll be connected. But it is absolutely remarkable. I'm looking to see if there are questions. There was a great statement in terms of love that you guys are doing employment and supporting the autistic kids because they do need to see adults. The question is, how do we see the future? Like, how do you envision the future with the mission that you have?
So like I said, with the adults, I would love for them to be comfortable in whatever area they are comfortable in. So we'll give the support. Recently, we got a place, we were looking at assisted living as a trial for some of our adults. We've never done it before. It's not available in Nigeria. We have a small place where we are thinking we might look for funding to do assisted living, to try it out and then see how that goes. Because our goal at Patrick's always is to aid independence. And many of the parents are getting older and older, just like the 30-year-old I told you about. The mother is getting to her 80s and she's asking, what is going to happen to him when I'm gone? So those are the areas we're looking at critically. For the high functioning adults, we know that with the right supports. And then another thing that we have challenge with is that the high functioning adults, because the stigma is so high, many of them don't even want to come out to talk about it. We have a program now where we were looking to bring in, we do a conference every other year, and we bring in self-advocates because we believe we cannot do anything outside of them. So we bring in self-advocates to come in and speak about the challenges. And we were fortunate last year to get a young lady who spoke about her work program. We are still in touch. We are still, learning how well she's been able to cope in that environment. She's been able to speak to her immediate boss about her challenges now, about the things that, that ticks her off in the office environment, and she's been able to open up about it. So we are encouraging the self-advocates to come out. We can't, the parents cannot do everything for them, but also the environment must be willing to hear from them without judging who they really are. So we are trying to make that soft landing, finding a way between the two, getting the environment to take that on, and as well as the adults coming out to speak.
Yes, so lots of work to be done. And speaking of advocacy, I think had something he wanted to say or ask.
Thank you very much, Stacy. Absolutely wonderful work being done here. This is so inspiring. But one thing that you said that really hit home for me as an autistic and learning disabled musician and a piano player at that is when you would talk about reaching these kids through music and how some of them learn to play piano and where people would kind of sit around the piano and listen and take part. And my goodness, I mean, the more of that you can do, the better. What's key and what really helped me as a young, unidentified autistic, learning disabled, was that by virtue of my own piano talent, that's how I was able to make friends. I made friends with other musicians by virtue of our shared interest. I was able to reach people and get people to like me and admire me for my piano abilities. And I would do what you had described has been done, of being at the piano and people would sit around and listen to me and show their gratitude. And what's huge here is that the more of this that can happen, the more you are boosting that individual's sense of self and self-esteem in terms of just being able to illustrate, look, this is something that I can bring to the table. This is how I can be of value to others. And that's just huge for increasing self-esteem, from which those of us who are neurodivergent could really use. Because all too often difference is stigmatized and pathologized, that can do a real number on self-esteem and sense of self. That musical involvement can really be a game changer in that respect. So the more of that can happen, in my view, as an autistic and learning disabled musician, the better.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely, but wonderful work what you're doing. It's great. Thank you very much.
I'll take that.
I'm so sorry. I know that we have gotten to time and some people may need to leave, but we do have a couple more questions for those who can stay after. I think has a question then after. Oh, there you go. I think you're unmuted. Let's see.
Hello? Ah, there we go. All right, thank you very much. Oh, sorry. Thank you so much. My name is, and I just registered at the admins. The person who spoke has a school in Nigeria, like an institute where we're being taught how to
do all these things practically, like a 3-month intensive course, and we just started last week. It's been an amazing experience, so I really, really do appreciate her. My concern is I have an online school in Nigeria where I teach effective communication skills to children. And most times I get that a lot of parents in Nigeria who are based abroad, like in the US or the UK, complain that their kids are being diagnosed with mild autism, and that's not the case usually in Nigeria. In Nigeria, most schools do not have the facility to test that. So most of them are of the opinion that when you enter a school in the US or the UK, they start looking for the autism inside the children. They start forcing the symptoms, that anything they see, they start to say, oh, this kid has autism, this kid has autism, because they see children, when children go to their schools, from the way they narrate to me, the teachers, the educators in the US start to look for the autism inside the children. Even when the autism isn't present, they feel, oh, because they see the autism right from the beginning, because they start looking for, it's just like when you're looking for something, you tend to see, when you want to buy a car, for example, that's when you start to notice all the cars on your street. So they come from the perspective of, oh, I think they start to see the autism in my child, because they were searching for the autism in the first place. So I want to see what's your view regarding that. And my sister also is based in Canada. When she showed me the reports that she received from her kid's school in Canada, I was so surprised. It was so intensive. This is the way the child is sitting in class. This is the way the child is moving her hands. This is the way the child is walking. This is the way the child, so intensive. I mean, almost in excess, that I feel, oh, even if there is nothing wrong with this child, with the way this report is, so it's all encompassing. This is where the child went to the toilet this particular time 3 times. You need to watch the child's diet. It's so all encompassing that you tend to see, even if there is nothing wrong with this child, they take care of the children and monitor them even more than their parents would have done. Because when the kids are at home, most parents are on their phones or at work, and they do not have that kind of attention. So I tend to think, do you also have, so I do not have any knowledge, and that was why when I saw the Patrick training course, the intensive session, I felt, okay, so I do not start to talk to my clients out of knowledge, or because they're like laymen. If an expert in autism tells you this is what is wrong with your child, you do not say, oh, it was because we're looking for it. You try to ask, is it actually true or not? That was why so I want to ask you the question, do you also feel the same, that when you try to pester and see, oh, what is there autism in this child, you tend to see that autism? And then secondly, with regard to speech delay, a lot of them based in Nigeria tell me, oh, I had my 2 children, for example, in Nigeria, nothing was wrong with them. But when we moved abroad, the baby I had in abroad has issues with speech delay. So I tend to think, because I have a deep background in linguistics, but not in therapy or autism, I think it's because the kids are not used to talking to other people around them. So what do you think? Can that cause speech delay as well? Or it's primarily because they have autism as claimed by the experts around, by the therapist, the speech therapist around them? So those are my core questions. Thank you.
That's a whole class. A whole class. We need
Just to sit at a table
a think tank for that one.
I'm sorry for taking your time. Sorry. No apologies.
Go ahead, Dotu. It's a lot packed into that, and I think it would be. I mean, I'm like, let's get to the table and talk about it. So,
Okay.
Dotu, go ahead and do your response, and then we will after that. Thank you.
Okay, I get to meet him on Saturday, so it will be a good time for us to have a very long conversation. I get to meet him on Saturday morning, so we'll talk more about that. But from your questions, you see, we if you notice what I said in my presentation, culturally relevant programs. We are different. When we are moving from Nigeria to another country, Nigerians are very intense. That's who we are. And sometimes some people don't understand us. We are very intense. So when the child is moving all over the place, here we have a way of using our facial expressions. That's how we were born. When you go out there and your mom is coming and she has told you when you are leaving the house, as you are leaving this house, when we get to Auntie's place, no drink for you. And then you sit down. The first thing Auntie says is, "Oh, Dawson, do you want Fanta?" All you need to do is look at your mom's expression, facial expression, and you will sit still. And no matter how great the drink is, you are going to shake your head and say, so we are so different in cultural in the cultural environment. So we take that, when you take that into a place where it's permissive, a lot of times Nigerian, when they get into the schools abroad, nobody gives them that facial expression. So they just go on to do what they have to do. So sometimes they get misdiagnosed, but sometimes they get the right diagnosis. And sometimes they get early diagnosis that supports that child, and that child is able to go through it easily, like they are able to put in the resources that is needed to support that child. And then the child goes into living a full and functional life. And that is what we want to see. So you have to, you cannot generalize. You cannot say because one child is in this school and we are seeing all this, that's how it happens to most children. Yes, our environment is rich because, like I said, we're a polygamous environment. We have many people around us. Somebody is always talking to the child. Somebody is always, whether the child is answering or not, somebody is there. Even if the child wants to, play alone in isolation, somebody is there to come and to pull that child to say, come into this community. Oh, we are doing this. Come, let's do this. Somebody is there to give that child that support. And then you move from that kind of environment into an environment where you have you, your husband, and the children. Sometimes it triggers some of these things. So it's not as if they are always labeling the children. Sometimes the environment determines or dictates what we see in the children, and we have to take note of that. But we'll talk more in the class on Saturday. So no worries.
Thank you, Dotan.
So 6 more minutes.
What you got?
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you so much, Ma, for all that you're doing in Nigeria. Just listening to you gave me so much hope, so much inspiration. I'm from Cameroon, but I live in the United States. And I am very passionate about bringing these resources to Cameroon. If you look in the chat, I said in the chat box, I said, please, please, please come to Cameroon. I came into this world through life circumstances. I don't have a child with autism, but my son is constantly being assessed for autism here in the States. And I have a niece in Cameroon who has special needs, no resources, very, very limited resources, and it breaks my heart. I actually went back to school, changed my career because I wanted to be able to create a path where I could get to take resources to Cameroon or bridge a gap for the children with autism, Down syndrome, what have you in Cameroon. So hearing that a country right next door, Nigeria, is doing all that you're doing, I'm happy and thank you so much. I'm inspired and I'm hopeful. Please come to Cameroon.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Beautifully said, beautifully said. So we will have to go. I think we all have things we have to do, even though it's a great discussion. But I have a feeling that some of us will meet again and sit at a table. I just have got to figure out how to twinkle my nose and like be here and be here and be here because I can't seem to find a rich person to fly me around the world. But thank you so much for your time and sharing your story. And thank you for the work that you are doing and the community that you are building because it is going to make a difference then, now, and in the future because you're building a community. And I love that you said it will continue when I am gone, that's what we want, right? Something that's sustainable, not where they're relying on one person. So thank you so much. And thank everyone for joining us. And I guess we're done.
Thank you, John, for coming also. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Stacy.
That was
for
lovely.
bringing this. And thank you, Sewa. I must say thank you to Sewa because it was Sewa that recommended that John got in touch with me.
Good. I
For
love Sarawak. I went to Sarawak school, and now I'm like, I got to get to everybody's school.
You should come,
I
Stacey.
need
You should come.
I need to learn that skill. Winkle my nose and then psh, from there. All right. Thank you, everyone. Until we meet again.
All right. Thank you for having me. God bless. Yeah, bye.